Goodness gracious, what a game that was. The Vancouver Canucks have just lost 3-2 in a shootout versus the Toronto Maple Leafs. And it's quite noteworthy because this is the very first time since 2019 that the Maple Leafs have beaten the Canucks in Vancouver. Quite the long achievement, honestly. 7 years without a loss in this building, and Vancouver finally pulls it off today. Not to say that they were intending to lose, but this was definitely a game where the two worst teams of their respective conferences went out there and duked it out, complete with stellar goaltending and forwards on both sides who could not seem to capitalize on all the opportunities that they had. It was Nikita Tolopilo versus Joseph Woll, and for the most part, I'd say that both goaltenders had a very good night, each making some incredible stops, especially in the extra frame. Joseph Woll denying the stick of Elias Pettersson to bury it into the open cage, also stopping Connor Garland point blank. Tolopilo stopping Auston Matthews on a penalty shot in overtime. These are all just the big saves that we had seen in the last 5 minutes of gameplay, but realistically, both of these guys had a good night, and I think they both deserve their praises over here. Ultimately, though, this game does not get going on the score sheet until the second period, where 2 minutes in to period number 2, it is Jonathan Lekkiermaki scoring his second of the season. He ends up grabbing Liam Ogren's pass right at the hash marks, locking up, loading up, and firing it short side by Joseph Woll. It's a really nice shot here by the young Swede. We've always known about his goal scoring, his shooting ability. These are the aspects that made him such a highly touted prospect back when he was drafted by Vancouver in 2022. And now he's starting to show that more at the pro level. Sure, it's only his second goal of the season, and sure, you would probably want to see more Lekkiermaki as the season had gone on, but the Vancouver Canucks are so bad that I guess you could also say that this is not the time for Lekkiermaki to be thrusted into a top 6 role with this caliber of talent around him. But anyways, he makes it 1-0, assisted by Liam Ogren and Pierre-Olivier Joseph. Tying things up about 10 minutes later, it is Nick Waugh, assisted by Nick Robertson and Oliver Ekman-Larsson. Waugh, similar play, ends up taking the pass right above the hash marks. Instead of receiving the pass and locking and loading, he just one-times it right off the bat. Right when Robertson throws it over to him, Waugh shoots, it goes right by Tolopilo, and it is a 1-1 game. You saw Rogers Arena kind of light up when the goal was scored. And honestly, all of the Maple Leafs goals, there was a really big crowd for Maple Leafs fans in the building cheering their heads off. It always shocks me just how many inter-Canadian fans exist in Vancouver that cheer for the Leafs and the Canadiens and some of these other teams. Toronto is definitely the biggest one, though, so yeah, Saturday night matchup, obviously it's at 4 p.m., even though it's in Vancouver, because you gotta cater to the Leafs fans, right? But the Leafs ended up going down just a minute after it was 1-1 because you have Tom Willander scoring his 4th of the season, assisted by Evander Kane and Elias Pettersson. Pettersson ends up throwing it over to Kane to start the breakout. Kane walks right into the zone, centers it back across for Willander, who walks in and fires it far side on Woll. It's a really nice play, tough for the goaltender there. The pass comes one way, the shot comes the other, and Willander with the mobility and the shot, the offensive instincts, and then of course the leadership that we had seen out of him during the interviews. Willander is looking like a very useful part of this Vancouver Canucks team, both in the now and heading into the long term. He's really starting to showcase more of that value, and I think at 15th overall, you could make the debate that maybe this guy was taken a little bit later than he should have been, based off the talent we are seeing. Of course, though, Willander, this one game, It's his 4th of the year, 2-1 Vancouver heading into the third period. We are just 2 minutes in, you have Max Domi, who ends up scoring a pretty difficult goal on Nikita Tolopilo. Auston Matthews ends up winning the draw. Domi picks up the loose puck that's right at the faceoff dot. He fires it towards the goal. Tolopilo makes the save, but the puck bounces up and over Tolopilo as it hit his shoulder. Technically a save, but no. The second movement of the puck ends up going in, and Max Domi has his 9th of the season. 2-2 game, it stays like that for the rest of the third, and then in overtime things get absolutely nuts with all the opportunities that we saw. Both teams getting some very good looks, both teams fumbling on some very guaranteed chances. John Tavares had a one-timer cross-crease play on the back door that would have been a goal like 9 times out of 10, but instead of shooting it on goal, he ends up flubbing it and it goes behind the net. You had Elias Pettersson, who went out there and received a Filip Hronek pass at the last second of a very nice backdoor play. Hronek goes over to Petey, and he has a wide-open net to shoot at, but instead of taking the shot right away, he tries to drag it around the goalie, and Joseph Woll's glove ends up preventing Petey from pulling the puck in front and scoring there. He also had Connor Garland on a second effort, who ended up trying to crash the net, catching Joseph Woll off guard. That one did not go through, but it was a really nice attempt. Garland, for the most part, was looking electric in overtime. I know a lot of people, myself included, have acknowledged just the lack of desperation in his game ever since Quinn Hughes got traded. Oh, look at that. Quinn Hughes just got an assist for Minnesota against Edmonton, right as I'm recording this video. But Connor Garland in the OT against Toronto today, he looked pretty solid, and I liked the way he was moving, liked the way he was creating offense. He also ended up tripping Auston Matthews in overtime, which resulted in Matthews getting a penalty shot that was calmly decided by Nikita Tolopilo. He followed Matthews the entire way through, came up on the forehand side, and denied Matthews with the pad in front. Really nice play there by Tolopilo. Very experienced-looking play, even though Tolopilo is obviously a rookie, a young guy. Eddie Stone's one of the best goal scorers in the game in a penalty shot. Now, unfortunately, once the shootout came, this is where Vancouver's luck ran out. Jake DeBrusk ended up hitting the post, both posts. It looked like it went in at first glance, but no, video review shows that it is absolutely not crossed the line fully. He beats the goalie, not the iron, and inevitably, it's William Nylander who gets things going 1-0 in the shootout. Elias Pettersson gets stopped by Joseph Woll, and then Auston Matthews buries it. He seals the deal, makes it 2-0 in the shootout, and a 3-2 Toronto Maple Leafs victory. Pretty tough game, honestly, but an entertaining one at that, and I do think that Canucks fans have a lot to like out of what we had seen today. The effort, the drive, the intensity, the lack of 2 points from this team. I know it always feels good to beat the Leafs, but sometimes it just doesn't happen. For the first time in 7 years, it feels like it doesn't happen in this building at the very least. So with all that in mind, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. How do you feel about the Canucks and the Maple Leafs? I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.